back on the sidewalk.
Yeah, keep walking back on the sidewalk.
79, Rod, verify 18 on 1 North Companion.
Moving back. We're gonna help you.
Keep coming back to the sound of my voice.
As much as you can walk. Get on
And Hollywood, stand by, heading their LaBrea.
The night was supposed to be one of those regular Hollywood blowouts, the kind where the music is louder than your thoughts and the drinks flow faster than the wisdom of an overly ambitious Instagram influencer. But what started as a party for the ages ended up being a nightmare that would follow Megan Thee Stallion for years. Now, I'm not talking about a minor scuffle or some harmless celebrity drama. This was the infamous glass incident, a night that, in the blink of an eye, went from cocktails and laughter to confusion, pain, and a whirlwind of legal battles. The entire thing became a circus, with a courtroom as the main stage and social media playing the role of the peanut gallery. It all started on July 12, 2020, when Megan, Tory Lanez, and a few others found themselves at a party in the Hollywood Hills. It was your classic high-profile bash, loud music, tons of people, and more than enough alcohol to keep things loose. Tory Lanez, a Canadian rapper, and Megan Thee Stallion, the Houston-born hot girl, were two of the biggest names in hip-hop at the time. So naturally, the evening was primed for some over-the-top moments. But what wasn't on anyone's radar was the explosion that would happen later that night. By all accounts, the evening had its share of typical party tension: alcohol, misunderstandings, and a couple of egos brushing up against each other in a confined space. Megan and Tory weren't exactly friends, but they weren't strangers either. Their relationship had a history, though it wasn't exactly a close one. Something happened that night, something that started as an argument and escalated quickly. And in the heat of that escalation, something terrible occurred. Tory, allegedly, fired a gun in Megan's direction. But this isn't a story about a criminal act. It's a story about how we've all been handed pieces of a broken puzzle that don't seem to fit together. There's confusion, assumptions, and some serious questions about how we treat women in the spotlight. Megan, who was hurt, scared, and shocked, didn't immediately scream about what happened. Instead, she did what many victims in high-pressure situations do. She downplayed it. She didn't immediately tell police about the shooting. She said she stepped on glass. Why? Why would she do that? Because when you're in the public eye, the weight of your every word, your every action, is scrutinized in a way that's hard to fathom. In Megan's case, she later admitted that she didn't want to get anyone into trouble, especially someone like Tory, who, at the time, was still a fellow artist in the industry. But here's the thing about downplaying the truth. It rarely stays downplayed for long. The world found out, and when they did, the speculation started to spiral out of control. A gunshot wound is a little hard to hide, even if you're wearing a pair of designer heels. The glass story quickly unraveled as doctors confirmed that Megan had been shot. She wasn't trying to make up some wild tale for attention. She was trying to protect the people involved. But as the story spilled out into the public domain, the truth hit the fan, and suddenly everyone had an opinion. Was it really self-defense? Was there a deeper, more sinister motive behind the incident? How could Tory Lanez, a man who was well known in the music industry, be involved in something so violent? Public opinion, that fickle beast, was already moving faster than the legal system. Social media, with its cruel and unrelenting eye, wasn't interested in waiting for all the facts. As soon as Megan made her initial statements, trolls began digging into her past, trying to paint her as a liar or someone who wasn't deserving of sympathy. After all, She was a famous rapper, right? How could she be a victim? People questioned why she was even in the car with Tory in the first place, implying that maybe she was asking for trouble. The double standards were glaring. If this had been a man in her place, the narrative would have likely been different. But since she was a woman, especially one in hip-hop, the assumptions were already made. There was a wave of blame that Megan had to navigate, even while she was recovering from a traumatic injury. Now, let's talk about Tory Lanez for a second. In the beginning, he denied everything. He was convinced the world would side with him because, well, he had a certain charm and a lot of street credibility. The truth didn't matter much when you're busy building your narrative. At first, Lanez seemed to be skating by with a nothing-to-see-here attitude, but as the investigation unfolded, the cracks started to show. His actions, both before and after the shooting, became a key point in the case. He was seen as evasive, dismissive, and outright hostile toward any attempt to uncover the truth. Publicly, he danced around the accusations like he had a backup plan, but behind closed doors, his legal team was working hard to save his skin. Tory would later face charges for the shooting, but by then, the damage was already done. Megan, meanwhile, found herself in the unenviable position of being both the victim and the target of ridicule. No matter how much she tried to assert her innocence, the world's lens remained harsh and unforgiving. The legal battle that followed was long, drawn out, and ugly. But for Megan, this wasn't just about the case. It was about reclaiming her narrative. She wasn't just a hip-hop artist anymore. She was a woman who had been hurt and had to fight not just for her own survival, but for the public's understanding of what happened. Megan had to deal with not just the physical effects of being shot, but the mental toll it took on her as well. This wasn't just a headline in a tabloid. It was her life. She was forced to confront the trauma of the shooting while simultaneously dealing with the fallout from the case. For someone who had spent so much of her career making empowering music, this was a devastating blow. The wound wasn't just physical, it was emotional. Megan, who had built a reputation as someone who stood strong in the face of adversity, now had to stand even stronger. She didn't just need to heal herself, she needed to remind everyone that she was more than just the victim of a viral incident. Fast forward to the court case. Megan, Tory, and a whole slew of witnesses took the stand. The legal drama had the kind of tension you'd expect from a high-profile trial. And it was messy, far from clear-cut. Both sides presented their version of events, with Megan steadfastly telling her truth. She talked about the pain, the fear, and the uncertainty of that night. She spoke about the moments leading up to the shooting, the confusion, and her desire to protect those around her. On the other side, Lanez's team tried to dismantle Megan's narrative, questioning her actions and, at times, even her credibility. The case went on for months, each twist and turn only adding to the spectacle. As the court case played out, the larger implications of the incident became undeniable. This wasn't just about one person getting shot. It was a discussion about power, accountability, and the intersection of fame and justice. It forced people to reckon with the way we treat women, especially women, in the public eye. Was Megan believed because of her fame, or was she doubted because of it? Was she a victim, or was she just another target for a system that has long overlooked the voices of women, particularly women of color? The trial became a flashpoint for conversations about victim blaming and the ways that celebrity culture feeds off scandal and pain. By the time the trial reached its conclusion, the damage had already been done. The incident had already shaped how people saw Megan Thee Stallion. The court's verdict didn't change that. It was no longer about a single night in 2020. It was about how the world treats its stars when they fall from grace, even momentarily. For Megan, this wasn't just about reclaiming her story. It was about proving that she was more than just a footnote in a viral scandal. She was a woman with power, influence, and the courage to fight for her truth, no matter how much the world tried to spin it in another direction. The aftermath of the glass incident will follow Megan for the rest of her life. But there's one thing that's clear: she's not backing down. This saga, this courtroom drama, and the public spectacle that accompanied it all are part of the legacy Megan will leave behind. No longer just the hot girl, Megan Thee Stallion is now the embodiment of resilience, a woman who stood tall after the world tried to knock her down.